it might be a little bit confusing to pronounce, especially if you're new to this. That's completely fine. So let's probably start from that. N8N, this is how it looks, this is how it's spelled. You pronounce it as N8N, and this is short for the Nodemation. And you already can see the hint of the word of automation in that of Nodemation, right? And this is not a coincidence, because N8N is the open source, this is important, low-code platform for building those automations, for creating automated tasks and creating workflows. And there are other platforms like N8N, for example, Zapier or Make. But unlike those platforms, the best benefit of the N8N is actually that it's open source. And you can run it locally, you can self-host it, you can basically do whatever you want with it, which is super cool. Also, it has really great community. Guys who are behind N8N constantly pushing some new stuff and new features, which is awesome. So it has support and it's backed up by the community. And additionally, honestly, I kind of like the visuals, and in general, since the key selling point of N8N and such platforms that they are low code, the visuals really good. You can see right now that this is basically the bunch of different rectangles stacked up together, and it's just like a drop and drop interface there. And all those rectangles, we can consider them as the pieces of the domino, and they're called nodes. So our workflow consists from nodes, from different pieces of the domino. And I like to differentiate three main types of nodes. There are trigger nodes, there are action nodes, and there are helper nodes. Let's start from the trigger node. Right now, you can see that the very first node that has the lightning symbol next to it, this is actually the trigger node. Each and every workflow includes the trigger node inside. Thankfully, N8N has a large variety of different trigger nodes, which might satisfy any of your ideas about the triggering the workflow. Props for that. Also, there are action nodes. There are also a huge variety of action nodes, and as you might have guessed from the name, those nodes are performing some tasks and operations. So it might be fetching data, it might be calculating something. Those nodes might even include custom code like JavaScript code or Python codes, something like that. And the next one is the helper node. Helper node, it's just for helping us to steer our workflow in the right direction or manipulate that. For example, it can be if or statements. It might be merging different requests and outputs from action nodes together. So it's doing something that actually just helps us to manipulate the general logic, and that's it. And it might seem really simple at the first glance, like the whole UI and all the functionality, but don't be deceived. N8N is really capable since it has a lot of also custom action nodes. As I mentioned before, you can even write your own code there. So for the more experienced web developers, software developers, engineers, you might actually build a lot of cool and complex stuff if you want. And for those ones who are not so into development and engineering, you can still build a lot of powerful and cool stuff with it, since it has a lot of built-in tools which are not requiring code. It's just about the complexity. If you about engineering and creating crazy complex projects, you better be prepared for that. If you're not interested in something building crazy, yeah, the initial UI should be enough for you.